So imagine a year starts off great and you were really killing it. You were saying to yourself, this is going to be your year. You're reading lots of books, hitting the gym consistently, and making progress on some of your biggest goals. But then something happened. It seems like in the blink of an eye, it's already August. More than half the year is already gone, and somewhere along the way, you fell off track on your goals. And everything now just seems a bit harder to do. You're tired, you've lost all the motivation that you had, and you start to think to yourself, oh God, so much of the year is already over, and I haven't finished even half of my goals, which means I'm not good enough as a person, which means I'll never get the life that I want, which means I'm a failure as a human and no one will ever love me. And unfortunately, this lack of motivation and this negative thinking pattern starts to attach itself to every area of your life. So if you are anything like me and this sounds like you, then this is the video for you. But first, just a couple of disclaimers to get out of the way. This is just what has worked for me. I'm just some dude trying to figure things out and talking about it on the internet. If this doesn't work for you, that's totally okay. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you because, I mean, come on, just look at you. You're amazing. Also, I'm not a doctor and depression is a serious thing. So if you find yourself feeling like you're in a major depressive rut, go see a therapist and get some actual treatment from an actual doctor. With that out of the way, let's jump into what I like to do to jumpstart my motivation and reset my life. First things first, we need to get out a journal or a piece of paper or open up a Word doc on your computer. I highly encourage you to do this step with me right now because if you're anything like me, you love the idea of journaling, but hate the act of actually doing it. I don't know, for myself, I get writer's block and I think maybe even my journaling isn't good enough. But let's jump right into it. Step one of the jumpstart method is to just empty your head. Now, what do I mean by empty your head? That's to get all the should do's, the ideas, the must do's, the wanna do's out of your head and onto paper. Start with your first thought and then just word vomit them out until your head is completely empty and you have nothing else to write. If you're like me and you might struggle with where to start, like I had mentioned earlier, then I find that using bullet points for each and every thought helps me just get over this weird perfectionism thing that I have and just start writing. Now, the reason this exercise is so powerful is that we need to give our head more space to process stuff. You see, our brain is like a computer. It is great for processing things, but it's terrible for storing things like an overfilled file cabinet. And what you'll find is by taking those thoughts and to-dos and ideas and all of this noise that we have going on inside our head and then putting it down on paper, it actually allows our mind to relax and to feel less overwhelmed. And we can start to realize that many of the scary and vague thoughts we were having end up looking pretty trivial and unimportant when they're out of our head and on the paper. Which brings me to step number 2. After you've word vomited everything out, the next thing we want to do is write down what were our goals at the start of the year, and then what we ended up doing instead when we fell off track. It's important to accurately assess where we are. For myself, I had the goal of making 52 videos this year, making a short film, fixing my health issues with this weird autoimmune thing I've been struggling with. One thing that stands out immediately from my list of goals is that I have only made 6 videos this year and nothing since February. Oopsies. This is an exercise to assess where we are, not to beat ourselves up. And it's totally okay to fail at some of the goals and fall off track or get distracted by other things. Now is the time to get back on track. Which brings me to step number 3. To get back on track, we need a system. It's very easy to go overboard with a system and to set out to take over the world only to have one bad day and fall off the rails, right back into a bender of sitting on the couch and eating chips. Don't be that guy or gal. Instead, create a system for your worst days. A routine or a series of small habits that can be accomplished even on your worst days. Because it's great to set up a system for when you're feeling really motivated and good, but if you create a system for days when you feel really great, it will break as soon as you have an off day. I think things that make up a great system are easy to follow and clear rules and weekly routines. I love rules because I struggle with moderation. So if I have a rule to, for example, not buy alcohol, then it's much easier for me to not drink than if I'm fighting willpower and have that in the house. Same thing with junk food and snacks. If I only buy healthy things and keep them around the house, it's much easier for me to eat healthy. Step number 4. The last step is to just do something. It can be anything. Most people have the belief that they have to be motivated before they do something. And what we fail to realize is motivation can be built by actually doing things. You can start by cleaning your room, making your bed, or showering and putting on some new clothes. Simple steps like these can create the momentum you need to tackle your bigger goals. So instead of watching another one of Matt D'Avella's videos to get inspired, or finding yourself watching another bit of Ali Abdaal's productivity porn, instead get up now and go do something. Break out of this rut by doing one small thing that will make you feel better about yourself. Go take this step now. Man, it feels good to be back and get out of that rut. I'm happy to be here, and I will catch you guys later.